Hello, everyone, and welcome back to A Dancer's Mindset with myself, Isabella. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you're new here, welcome. This is A Dancer's Mindset, where we help so many of you feel more motivated, confident, and I'm really excited seeing this community grow and expand and get bigger and bigger, helping thousands of dancers now. So guys, as I mentioned before, we have recently released an adult ballet intensive, which has completely sold out, which is amazing. Wasn't expecting that. And it sold out within 2 days, which is incredible. So there'll definitely be more coming soon. So if you missed out on this one, never fear, there will be another one soon. So today we're going to be talking about what's the balance between letting go whilst you're dancing and performing well at the same time, performing technically well. A family friend of mine who was a star ballerina, I've spoken about her before, in the 60s, and I were talking recently. I went round for dinner at her house. We were talking about how she'd watched the ballet recently, and she mentioned how a lot of the dancers were lacking excitement, lacking spark, lacking light and shade, and weren't really playing with the music in an interesting way. She deemed it all to be a little bit flat. Now, technically, again, they did everything fine. In fact, very well, but just not exciting. It was all on a level, as they say. Nothing tested the boundaries. Thinking back to their generation, this woman's generation, because, she's older now. It was around the time of Margot Fonteyn. I think about, the exciting dancers and of that generation. And they weren't as technically impressive, quote unquote. Their legs weren't as high, their fifths weren't as clean, their passe was overcrossed, and their lines weren't as amazing. But wow, did they know how to dance and how to express and how to let go. They knew how to be exciting. They knew how to keep the audience on their toes. There's a pun there. I'm good at the puns. They knew how to keep the audience biting, keep them involved. They would leave thrilled and in awe. And when you watch videos of Baryshnikov, for example, he left you thinking, wow. He left you laughing, crying. I mean, so much charisma, so much charm. Even when you watch him on YouTube or on Instagram, these little clips of him, even through a tiny clip, his charm and his charisma just radiates through, and you're just so transfixed and involved by him. So what's happened? Why are a lot of dancers of this generation, let's call it, dulled perfection? To a certain degree, for a period of time, we have to focus on the steps. Sure, of course, when we're learning, when we're a student in the school, of course we have to think about the steps. Of course we have to master them. Of course we have to put the hours in, and it's hard to be artistically free or very free and test the boundaries of your dancing and time with the music if we haven't fully mastered our bodies and muscles. So yes, until that point, we have to work. Put in the hours every day, not be afraid of failing and go for it every day. And I've spoken before about the 10,000 hours theory, but I think that's just the minimal amount of hours, if I'm honest, to get good at something. But, to be competent at something. But to be great at something, that will take many more hours, many more practice sessions. many more hours put in. On the journey to being great, we should be learning to express our bodies as well. And I think this is where things get a little bit complicated, because a lot of people think technique and artistry are separate things and that we should learn them separately. But I completely disagree with this. I think we are learning those things along the way. For example, when I was at the Royal Ballet School, obviously I was learning the steps well, but the artistry side of things was, and how to express really through my body in a very soft way, was very neglected. So even though I had it within me, I didn't know how to express that. And so I wasn't coming across as the most expressive dancer because I didn't know how. On the journey to being great, we should be learning to express, learning to be artistic through movement. And that's what makes the Vaganova technique so incredible. One can argue it's part of the technique, as I've said. The artistic side of the movement is present there. It's not a separate thing. How we do an arabesque, how we do an allongé, that's within the technique. You're taught how to move your body in such a way that expresses every step we take. You know, it's part of it. It's not something to be added later. Once we've achieved a level of technical freedom, we need to let ourselves express. Be expressive and free. Dare to be daring, as they say. Otherwise, we're just doing steps strung together. I watched a Mariinsky YouTube video, which was Ekaterina Kondaurova, showing a mime excerpt from their new production of Le Fille du Pharaon. And wow, also, side note, I know a lot of you guys actually mentioned recently that you want me to do a little review on that, because obviously on my YouTube channel, we do a lot of analysis of variations and comparisons of ballerinas. And so as soon as I get my hands on more footage of it, because obviously there's only a few little clips circulating around Instagram and things at the moment, but as soon as there's a little bit more footage, let me know, send it to me either on Instagram or you know, send a link in my YouTube comments, and I'll definitely take a look, because I would love to do that. But yeah, I basically saw a YouTube video recently of Ekaterina Kondaurova, who I'm also a fan of, because she's one of the taller ballerinas that I really look up to, I really admire, and I looked up to a lot in school because she is so tall. And even though this video, she's doing mime, basically, mime from the production of Le Fille du Pharaon and The Pharaoh's Daughter. And wow, even though it's all in Russian, and obviously I understand Russian, but even people who don't understand Russian can take something from this. And she's in the lobby of the Mariinsky 2 theatre. So she's just in the lobby and she's in her tutu. And she tells the story, you know, of this mime like a poet, with her words and her body. Like, it's so amazing. It's so involved. And you're so involved. You know, she's really going for it. And it's like, you know, I don't think a lot of dancers who don't really live their movements and don't really embody their movements could do that so well, could do mime so well, because ballet mime can look a little bit naff if it's done with hesitation and reserved feelings and also embarrassment. But if you go for it, you know, you're really telling a story, and it can look amazing. And I will share a link down below, especially if this video goes on YouTube, because you can just really visibly see. But even on Spotify, I can put a link in the description. But you can really visibly see how expressive she is and how she's just embodying it and really going for it. And that's what you need to take with everything you do. And I think that's what makes all the amazing dancers of today and the past so incredible, is their ability to tell a story effectively through movement with very little reservedness or hesitation. They dance with no hesitation or reserved feelings. They unashamedly go for it with their epaulement, their character, and their facility. So, who is at fault then? Why are some dancers of today not really dancing, quote unquote, but mostly doing? Even the good ones, even the ones who are soloists, they lack style. They dance more robotically, more mechanically. And I'm not talking about young students, as like I said, there's a fair amount of training that obviously has to get involved, even though we're training our artistry as well at the time. We're not fully developed even as people at that point. So there's only so much artistic quality we can really give. So yeah, there's a fair amount of training and a fair amount of very academic exercises and rules that need to be learned in order to let that freedom really come through later, as well as life experience. However, it's still being developed slowly. Now, what I'm talking about are the developed artists who are in a company, for example, or nearly finishing school. But especially, let's say, the company members who are on stage already. I would say the problem is a combination of training and how they were trained, the teachers they had, and also what they are exposing themselves to as people in general. And we've also spoken about this a lot. Like, I had quite a viral post on Instagram recently where I spoke about, the younger generation and how they're not exposing themselves enough to things that can inspire them artistically and can inspire them as people, so that they have more of a deeper understanding of anything, history and just life in general, that will only further them artistically. And I had hundreds of comments from people basically agreeing with me. So basically, agreeing that a lot of people nowadays are really lacking that and not fully nurturing that side of them. And I would say it's becoming very evident in company members now. I'm not saying all of them for sure, but it was interesting speaking with this older ballerina who was, a real star of the time of Nureyev, Fontaine. And she's obviously a fan of these fantastic companies. She danced there herself, but she is kind of disappointed in their lack of musicality, epaulement, sharpness, pizzazz. So yeah, I'm thinking it's a combination of the training and the way they were trained that's lacking style. Because from my experience, I know that that's the case because I always had passion within me. But I had teachers initially that made me restrict myself, probably not intentionally, but the training was very restrictive and it caused my dancing to look stiff and reserved. And I was criticized for being stiff. As you guys know, I've mentioned it before when I went to Russia. And I can't tell you how much effort that took to iron out and get rid of the stiffness. I think it really did take me the whole 4 years. I only really started to really, and then it progressed even after I'd left, because, yeah, to a certain degree, experience has to get involved. But it really took a long, long time to iron out, and so much effort and so much thought from myself to really get to grips with that. I'll be sharing more of my Vaganova grade 8 exam. I recently just recorded a YouTube video, which was the year before I graduated, because as some of you know, they added a year on when I arrived, not specifically for me, but they had added a year on at that point in time. I'm not sure the reasons why, but since then they have removed the extra year. So I was lucky I went around the time that they gave an extra year. But it was, only when I had gone through my back injury and got my body super duper strong did I start to have total control of my technique and could therefore dance more freely and artistically with my body. So I'd always had so much passion for ballet within me. I had to hear classical music and my whole body would ignite with desire to dance, but I had no idea how to express it through my body. I wasn't taught it. I wasn't told how to move so artistically. And it's an amazing feeling, really amazing, when you learn how to express through your body so fluidly and artistically, knowing that you're dancing with style and grace, and knowing exactly what to do in order to make yourself look good. You look good doing these movements. You look soft. Obviously, I'm not opposed at all to other techniques, but the Russians and the Russian style, the Vaganova technique, does this very, very, very well. They are full of style and they are full of emotion and emotive expression. Not only do I think it's down to the training, but it's down to the culture. They live and breathe art. And this is not just artists, but everyone has a keen interest in art and inspiring things. They know poetry, they know books, they know famous authors, they know the classics, it's sort of expected. They go to museums, they listen to music, they go to concerts all the time, there's art everywhere. Even the streets are artistic. There's palaces everywhere. It's just full of history in St. Petersburg in particular. And they feel, and develop emotions from exposing themselves to all those things. And I think those that spend less time on social media show it even more. Like, it's really apparent. And that makes sense, right? That makes total sense. If you're not like this all the time, staring at your phone, you're out in the world, be wary of how much time, everyone, that you're spending on social media. It is addictive. It is a trap. Art is all around us. We need to feed our minds. You need to feed your mind, feed your soul. Read, go see art, go see a drama. If you're in London, go to the National Film Theatre. Go and see a play, go and see a ballet, go and see a ballet at the cinema if you have the opportunity to, wherever you are. Even on YouTube, if there's nowhere near you, or you don't have the funds to go to an actual show, or if the tickets are overly priced, you can watch online. Feed the passionate artist you want to become. You're not going to become a knowledgeable person by sitting on Instagram, not on a very deep level. If you're keen on improving your artistic side, this is something I'm really, really passionate about. So passionate, in fact, I'll be bringing out an artistry course for on my platform in the next few months, after our big relaunch that we have happening end of May. Huge relaunch for balletwithisabella.com. It's going to be incredible. But one of the things coming out will be an artistry course, which is going to teach you all how to move in such a way that is more expressive, to and basically it's a course which can help you improve pretty much immediately. In-depth lessons of how to respond to music, how to move your arms and head nicely, how to respond to the music and dance differently with different moods and different style, how to use your body to express. After all, it's going to be epic. I'm so excited about it because I don't think this has been focused on enough from people recently. What with social media and everything, Instagram, turning videos, for example, pirouette videos, extension videos, those are the trend, right? Those are the popular things. But after all, you want to stand out as a dancer, not be one of the pack. And again, if you're not even a dancer listening to this, an actor, anything, you have to feed your mind. You have to be an intelligent human being. Because after all, you want to stand out. You want to stand up from the crowd. You don't want to be one of the pack. And it's so hard for those dancers, I think, who have that expression and have that passion within them, like I did, but you don't know how to bring it out. And if you're someone who needs to bring out their artistry more, then I urge you to do things that inspire you, that get you off your phone, read a book, go for a walk, and just look up. Even look up at the sky. It's beautiful. It's blue. You'll see birds flying. That'll make you feel something. You'll feel calm. Take a deep breath. Allow inspiration to come through you. Allow inspiration to be let in. Read some self-growth books. Go see some paintings. Stare at paintings. Museums are free mostly. Go and stare at some paintings and just take 20 minutes out of your day to just walk around the gallery and I wish I had more time to do this, and just see what thoughts come into your head. You don't even have to be a huge art fanatic, but when you look at certain colors and certain images and certain patterns, it's very interesting to see how you respond and how your emotions sort of get fired up within you. So I urge you to do that. It's also a very calming process, get off TikTok. Someone actually commented recently on that viral post I mentioned on Instagram, saying that they don't want to necessarily, get inspiration from the examples I was saying and how TikTok can be inspiring. I mean, I wanted to go like this. I mean, I did, massive facepalm moment. Obviously, clips of people doing great pirouettes and things like that is inspiring. It's wow, amazing. But it's not really feeding your brain with thought-provoking things. It's very superficial, and that's not really with the point I was getting at. And so if you do these things, and look outside yourself a little bit more, you will start to feel more. So when you're dancing, it's like you're creating a library of, let's say, a library of expression within you. So when you're dancing, a library of emotion, so when you're dancing, you can go through that library and go through that life experience, go through the things you've read, and embody that through your movements, because you have something to draw from. And if you're not feeding that, what is it you can draw from? No wonder people dance quite robotically or superficially. Then ballet really is a sport, we want your dancing to be exciting, brave, daring. So go for it. Feed your mind. Lift your legs higher. Don't be reserved. Jump high. Go for the big movements. Give more expression. Backbend more. Don't dance reserved. Go for it. Express yourself. Don't be afraid. Like I say to my students, I'll tell you if it's too much. And I've never said it's too much. So guys, this is what I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope it's motivated you to feed your mind a little bit more, play with inspiration a little bit more, go out and see different things. And whether this video is on YouTube, comment down below. Let me know how you're feeding your mind, how you're inspiring yourself. What are you doing to improve this within your dancing? And let me know if you think it's as important as I do. So really stand out from the crowd. Become the artistic dancer or artist that you want to become. And in order to do that, we have to take action towards it and feed our mind. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys very soon. Bye for now. Time to dance. Dancing, you guys. Have a little jig. Walking down the sidewalk. Walking down the street. Soaking up the inspiration. Have a great day.